Let me paint you a picture. You're standing in the middle of Times Square. It's night. Neon is everywhere above you, around you, reflecting off every surface. Yellow taxis cutting through the crowd, a hot dog cart steaming on the corner, someone playing saxophone 20 feet away, and nobody stopping to listen because this is New York and everybody's got somewhere to be. You think I made it? This is exactly what I imagined. And then someone taps your shoulder. They're smiling, they've got a CD in their hand. They say, "Hey, this is my music. Take it. It's a gift." And before you can respond, it's in your hands. And just like that, New York's first lesson has already begun. Because that CD, that's a scam. A well-documented, decades-old scam that still works every single day on tourists who came here with nothing but excitement and a phone full of movie references. And it's just the beginning of what this city has planned for you. I'm not here to scare you away from New York. This city is one of the greatest places on earth. But what they don't tell you before you book, that's exactly what we're getting into today. Here's something interesting about New York City. You've already been there, probably hundreds of times, in movies, in TV shows, in music videos, in every single piece of American culture that's been exported to every corner of the world for the past 100 years. You've seen it in Friends, in Home Alone, in every superhero film that's ever needed a skyline iconic enough to feel like the entire world is at stake. New York doesn't just appear in pop culture, it is pop culture. And that creates something genuinely unusual for a travel destination. By the time most people land at JFK, they're not arriving at a new place. They're arriving at a place they feel like they already know. They have specific mental images, specific streets, specific sounds, specific feelings that they've been building since childhood. And New York City, the real one, the 2026 one, the one that exists outside the screen, is absolutely fascinating. But it is also in ways that nobody quite prepares you for, deeply, sometimes brutally, different from the version you've been watching your whole life. The gap between that imagined New York and the real one, that's what this video is actually about. Okay, let's talk about Times Square. Because Times Square is New York's most visited place, and also, without question, its most aggressively tourist-targeted zone on Earth. Start with the characters. You've seen them: Elmo, Spider-Man, the naked cowboy. They want a photo with you. And the moment that photo is taken, the mood shifts. What felt like a fun moment suddenly has a price. And if you don't pay, the friendliness disappears very fast. Then there's the CD scam I mentioned in the opening. Someone hands you a disc, tells you it's free, it's a gift, they're an independent artist. Within seconds, their whole crew is around you. And suddenly that gift has a very specific price that nobody told you up front. Fake Buddhist monks handing out bracelets. Street performers who create a circle, and while everyone's phone is up filming, hands are moving through bags and pockets. Times Square pickpocketing spikes happen exactly when the crowd gathers. And then there are the hotels. You booked a room in Midtown. The price looked reasonable, maybe a bit high, but hey, it's New York. You arrive, check-in is smooth, and then you see the bill. There's a destination fee, an urban fee, a facility fee, 20, 30, sometimes $50 extra per night, buried in the fine print, almost never shown in the headline price you saw online. New York City actually passed regulations in 2026 requiring upfront fee disclosure, but enforcement still catching up. That's the business model of Times Square. The entire district is optimized expertly, professionally optimized to separate tourists from their money in ways that feel almost invisible until the moment they don't. Now, let's go underground. The New York subway is one of the most iconic transit systems in the world. 472 stations, runs 24 hours, connects every borough, and nobody tells you what it's actually like before you get on it. First, the smell, especially in summer. There is a specific smell to certain New York subway stations that no travel video has ever successfully captured, and no travel guide has ever honestly described. You just have to experience it. Second, the delays. The MITA, the Metropolitan Transit Authority, has been dealing with an infrastructure system that in many places is literally over 100 years old. Signal failures, track issues, the announcement that comes over the speaker in a voice so distorted you genuinely cannot understand a single word. You will stand on a platform waiting, watching the app show your train 3 minutes away for 15 minutes straight, and you will feel something shift inside you. Third, and this is real and documented, standalone items in subway stations and convenience stores near tourist zones have had skimming devices attached to them. One operation stole $17 million from nice ATMs in a single scheme. Use bank ATMs only. Tap to pay where you can. But here's what I want you to hear as well. When the subway works, and most of the time it does, there is nothing like it. At 2 am, crossing Manhattan on an empty car, watching the city blur past the windows, the lights flickering, something playing in your headphones that is a New York moment that no taxi, no Uber, no rooftop bar can give you. The subway is chaos, and it is also genuinely, irreplaceably New York. Let's talk about money, because this is where most New York trips quietly fall apart. You budgeted, you planned, you looked at hotel prices, flight prices, attraction prices. You thought, okay, it's expensive, but I've accounted for it. A basic sandwich at a deli near Midtown, not a restaurant. A deli can run you $20–$25. A sit-down meal for two at a mid-range restaurant in Manhattan, with tip, because tipping in New York is not optional, it is a baseline expectation of 20% will comfortably cost you $150 for a normal dinner. A coffee. A regular coffee, not a specialty drink. Just a coffee for $5 minimum, plus tip. Because the tip prompt on the card machine is now standard at every counter, every food truck, every place that sells you anything. Currency exchange at the airport kiosks or the booths in Times Square. They advertise zero commission but apply exchange rates that effectively charge you 10–15% above the real rate. Use a bank. Use your contactless card. Do not touch those kiosks. And then there's the invisible cost that hits hardest. New York charges you for everything, at every layer, constantly. Bag fees at grocery stores. Congestion pricing if you're in a car. Booking fees. Service fees. Tourist surcharges that appear on bills you didn't expect. The average tourist spends significantly more in New York than they planned, not because they were reckless, because the city is extraordinarily good at making the cost of everything slightly unclear until after you've already committed. Here's the part of New York that the movies almost never show you, because this city, the most filmed, most photographed, most documented city in human history, still has parts of itself that almost nobody outside of it has ever actually seen. Manhattan, the island you came to, is now one of the most expensive places to live on Earth. The median rent for a one-bedroom apartment is over $4,000 a month. The people who clean the hotels you're staying in, who cook the food you're eating, who drive the cabs and run the dailies, the vast majority of them cannot afford to live anywhere near where they work. They commute, sometimes hours each way, from the outer boroughs, from neighborhoods that don't appear in any travel guide. And on the streets of the very same city, steps from luxury towers, steps from Michelin-starred restaurants, there are people living with nothing. New York's homeless population is one of the largest of any American city. It's visible in a way that is impossible to avoid and impossible to fully reconcile with the skyline behind it. That contrast, obscene wealth and profound poverty, existing in the same block, the same street corner, sometimes the same doorway, is the real New York. The one that doesn't make it onto the Instagram grid. But here's what I'll tell you. When you push past Manhattan, when you actually go to Queens, to the Bronx, to real Brooklyn, you find something that no amount of Hollywood has managed to fully capture. A city of 38 different languages spoken in a single neighborhood. A block where you can eat food from countries you've never heard of, cooked by people who brought recipes from the other side of the world. A community so dense with actual human life that Times Square starts to feel like a theme park by comparison. That New York has always been there. Most tourists never find it. So, New York City, should you go? I'm going to be honest with you the same way I'd be honest with a friend. Yes, absolutely yes. But go knowing what you're actually walking into. Know that Times Square is a machine designed to extract money from people who aren't paying attention. Know that the subway is extraordinary and also genuinely chaotic. Know that your budget needs a buffer, probably a bigger one than you planned. Know that the New York of your imagination is real, but it shares space with a city that is also exhausting, expensive, overwhelming, and sometimes genuinely difficult. But also know this. There is a specific kind of energy that only exists in New York, a pace, a density of human experience that you cannot find anywhere else on Earth. A city where on a single Tuesday afternoon you can pass a film shoot, a street protest, a world-class musician playing for tips, and a wedding all within 4 blocks. Nothing is curated. Nothing is arranged for your benefit. It's all just happening, constantly, at a volume that takes your breath away. That is the real New York. Not the postcard, not the movie, not the Instagram grid. The thing itself, go find it. I'm TK. This is The Hidden Route. Subscribe because the next city is going to be the one that surprises you the most.